Hey, I made it, and now I have no idea if you and I have ever crossed paths. My name is Alex Mondossian, and I'm so glad I could make it here, courtesy of the miracle of Google Hangouts. I'm in my office right now, and I'm recording this for you. And the topic at hand, of course, is legacy. And I went ahead and looked up the word legacy, and according to Webster, legacy is something such as property or money that is received from someone who has died, something that has happened in the past, or that comes from someone in the past. Now, that to me is not an adequate definition of legacy. I believe legacy is about three things, and this is my opinion. You may or may not agree with me, but the first thing legacy is legacy is about your attitude. It's not about your skill set, it's about attitude. Legacy also is about your story. And believe me, the story of your life is not your life, it's just your story, but how you live into your story turns into your legacy, of course. And legacy is, of course, about your life, so it lives on beyond this lifetime. And I'm going to add a fourth component to legacy, and that is your verb. Living into your verb. That is at the granular level. When you live into your verb, and I'll talk about what your verb is. I'm going to give you a little exercise if you choose to play with me. I think you change your life. You change your verb, you change your life. Now, most people live their lives, most people I know, as a noun, as a person, place, or thing. That's sedentary. That's living in balance. What happens at perfect balance? Nothing. No movement. Movement is life. Nothing happens until something moves, says Albert Einstein. All beauty is created by movement and chaos. The mountains, the oceans, the clouds, the heavens, all as a result of movement. Gravity causes movement. So I don't believe in balance. I believe in harmony, and I believe where when you're giving 10%, someone else can give you 90%. Think of your closest relationships. And when you're giving 90%, you're trusting that when that person's giving 10, they're going to be giving 90 when you're giving 10. I hope this is making sense. And the reason I bring this up is because I want to know what your verb is. And I want all of you in that room to share your verb with others. Because if you change your verb, you change your life. Now, let me show you what a verb is. Most important, a verb is a word. And I'm going to share with you a book from one of my mentors in legacy, Buckminster Fuller. This is the thinnest book he ever wrote. He wrote over, or I think nearly 20 books. This is the only one I understand, and it's titled, I Seem to Be a Verb, right? Now, I don't want you to live as a noun or an adjective, even an adverb. I want you to live as a verb as I do, and I'm going to share with you what my verb is, and let's go through this process together. My verb is engage. I engage, therefore I am. This is me as a 3-year-old. I knew from that point forward I would be a teacher, and it's amazing. I hadn't gone through therapy in dealing with the way my parents dressed me. If you can see this, it's a little pixelated, but I look like a traveling salesman, and this is the year 1969, and so this is little Alex at 3 years old. I engage, therefore I am. In other words, not I think, therefore I am. That was someone else's verb. This is my verb. I engage. What's your verb? Now, this is the gentleman whose legacy I live into. Many of my mentors today and clients come from his lineage. This is Buckminster Fuller. I believe his verb is I experiment, therefore I am. And this is a gentleman who almost committed suicide one bitter cold night on the shores of Lake Michigan. It was 1927. He was in so much pain, he actually took comfort in thinking about sinking into those icy waters because he had been expelled from Harvard not once but twice. He had been fired from more jobs that he could care to remember. He had lost his daughter to a horrible disease. And yet, before stepping into those icy waters, he thought to himself, how can I make this world work? And he decided to call it his experiment. And this experiment of making the world work is why I think that's his verb. And that's the moment that he changed his life, changed the direction of his life, and looked at his lineage and what has happened. Buckminster Fuller is a great man, considered the Leonardo da Vinci of the 20th century. I think his verb is, I experiment, therefore I am. Think about it. This is Lake Michigan. What if he took his life, right? I die, therefore I am, is not a verb of legacy. Now, here's where it all started. Rene Descartes, I think, therefore I am. Philosopher. He's from the Western tradition of philosophy, and he believed, in thinking. If you can think, therefore you exist. Maria Montessori, one of the great teachers of antiquity, I teach, therefore I am. I'm just guessing that's her verb. Thomas Edison, he was an inventor. I invent, therefore I am. Now, Ernest Hemingway, he did many things, but writing is what brought him to life. That is his legacy. Now, when you change your verb, you change your life. I've said that again and again. Nothing happens until something moves. Albert Einstein said that. And I believe when Ernest Hemingway, Ernie as he was called, when he drank, he didn't write as well. He may have edited. He used to say, write drunk, edit sober. But I drink, therefore I am, did not serve him. And therefore, when you change your verb, you change your behavior. So writing, I believe, is his verb. Mother Teresa, I give, therefore I am. What's your verb? Think about it. I'm going to ask you to write it down. Napoleon Bonaparte, I conquer, therefore I am. Now, one of the great things that he discovered was the Rosetta Stone, which allowed us to decipher hieroglyphics. It was about a 5-foot stone that he uncovered, but he also took a lot of lives. I believe Adolf Hitler's life was about conquering, right? I conquer, therefore I am, and he had his own thought process of conquering. Now, if Hitler, if he had changed his verb to I paint, therefore I am, he was a painter, a failed painter, then he would have changed his life, and many more people would be living as a result of that legacy. Now, Michael Phelps, it's not I swim, therefore I am. No one wins that many gold medals or by 1/1000th of a second. If it's not I win, therefore I am, you don't have that level of success. So I think that's his verb. I win, therefore I am. Amelia Earhart, I fly, therefore I am. Many people die into their verb. She died. Her life was taken from her, or maybe she lived into her verb so much that she died into it, and she was missing flying. And what a way to go, if you ask me. I fly. I believe that was her verb. Steve Jobs, he's no longer here, but he was an innovator. He wasn't not an inventor like Thomas Edison. I believe I innovate, therefore I am was his verb, because he didn't invent the MP3 player. He made it more sexy. He didn't invent the tablet or the laptop. He made it more sexy. He didn't invent the phone, but he did make it more sexy. And many of you own iPhones thanks to this man and his innovation. Now, Pablo Picasso did a lot of things with art, but I believe his painting his paintings is what he's known for. I paint, therefore I am. Donald Trump, think what you may about this man, but he loves to deal. I deal, therefore I am. So Socrates, I ask, therefore I am. People would walk the streets of Athens, and they used to approach him in his toga, most likely, and said, Socrates, what is beauty? And his response would be, what does beauty mean to you? So there's a power of the question mark, which is much more powerful than the exclamation point. Edith Piaf, if many of you listening and watching this, if you're old enough to remember, she died into a verb. She died on stage. Edith, if you're old enough to remember her, I sing, therefore I am. Beautiful voice. There's Frank Lloyd Wright. He was one time in court. He put his hand over a Bible, and they said, sir, please state your name. He says, I am Frank Lloyd Wright, the greatest architect of all time. They said, sir, can you be a little bit more humble? He said, no, I am under oath. He believed in design. I design, therefore I am, I think is his verb. Tiger Woods, he's all about improvement. Used to be the greatest golfer of all time. Then he had a little hiccup. He changed his verb. I cheat, therefore I am. Cheating did not serve him. And women came out of the woodworks, and cheating became what he was all about. Then he sunk into oblivion, golfing. Now he's coming back. I really give him credit for that. Think what you may about him, but he is all about improvement. I improve, therefore I am. Oprah Winfrey, I empower. Again, I'm guessing, but I empower, therefore I am. What is your verb? What is your verb? Think about it right now. Now, you can have many different verbs, but I want you to think about one, and I want you to write it down. And then when you write it down, see if there's something that you can do to put it on your chest or over your heart. If there's a sticker, or if they can give you a handout of some kind, I don't know if that's possible or not, but if they can't, just think about what your verb is, write it on an index card, and then when you approach someone at that event, at the break, or whenever, Maybe you can do it now. I have no idea what the syntax is and what the timeline is, but show your verb and then go up to someone and say, why is that your verb? When did you first notice it? How do you live into it? Okay? So you see the verb. When did you notice it? And how do you live into it? What a great way to interact with folks, and I hope you do that. My name is Alex Mandossian. I hope you leave a legacy by living into your verb, and I wish I could be there, but this is the next best thing, thanks to Google and YouTube. So once again, I hope our paths cross again, and I hope that you remember that you are not as good as you think you are. You're better. All good wishes.